Film or movie?
I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like this before.
Film or movie?
What happens when a man goes through his own portal?
La film or la movie?
Flames on the side of my face.
Film, movie,
Or movie?
film, movie.
And some Skittles.
Film or movie?
Film or movie? Go.
Movie,
I didn't shoplift the pootie.
Is it a film?
film.
Smoke if you got 'em.
Film or movie?
Oh, that's natural.
Film or movie?
Welcome to Film or Movie, the cinema review show that dares to ask the question, is it art or is it entertainment? As always, I'm your host, Tony Liebertau, and I am joined by Rob Kirkovich,
Hello.
Pete Monroe,
Good afternoon.
and on the ones and twos, laying down the mixing board, Mr. Ian Gottler.
Welcome back to a new titled podcast last week, movie or film.
We looked at a lot of the fan email that came in.
Right.
People were saying you should have gone with your instincts. You
In
guys should have
troves,
called it
just-
film or movie.
There's going to be a poll on the website. Which acronym is better, FOM or MOF?
I think MOF is the better acronym, but film or movie is the better full
I think if
title.
you say FOM, that's better than saying FOM.
Yeah, and also
FOM, that's true.
So welcome to FOM. This
Welcome to
week
FOM.
we review Skyfall, the newest Bond film directed by Sam Mendes. So here's the synopsis from Fandango, from our good friends at Fandango.
At the Fandango app.
Of course, it's not copyrighted.
When James Bond, who is Daniel Craig, when his latest assignment goes terribly wrong, it leads to a calamitous turn of events. Undercover agents around the world are exposed, and M16 is attacked, forcing M, Judi Dench.
It's MI6.
What did you say?
I said
M16,
M16, like the gun, right?
Keep going.
It
That's
is
not,
MI6.
That's your fault. That's not Fandango.
Yeah.
Just keep going.
We're Americans. We're not. It's like we
Maybe-
would never say CAI.
Okay. Anyway, Judi Dench has to relocate the whole agency because now all these people could get whacked. MI6 is now compromised inside and out, so M turns to the one man she can trust. You guessed it, Bond. Aided only by a field agent, Naomi Harris, Bond takes to the shadows and follows a trail to Silva, Javier Bardem, who is the bad guy in this one, a man from M's past who wants to settle an old score. Let's get right to it. We are going to start with Ian. What did you think about Bond Skyfall, film or movie?
well, I'm gonna go with movie, and I hate to run back the review from last time, but I'm gonna give it a 3 mucks. Acting was unstoppable. Every lead character nailed it. I'm gonna go down the list that I have in my notes. Javier Bardem having a ton of fun. Wasn't he
well,
though?
it says it all there.
Right.
I mean, wasn't he? Though?
Really
It
not
was
much
like
else
it
you
was
can say.
such a great Bond villain. He didn't have me right off the bat. I wasn't totally sold on that opening monologue when they first have him come down. I didn't know what the hell he was doing, and then after I realized what he was doing, was way down the whole
And
way
he had
through.
that hair, so like, who cares what he's doing or what he's saying? That
again.
hair, the blonde wig that he
Didn't
had.
I have a
just
hair
really...
review from last week? Oh, Jeff Bridges' hair.
This is,
Oh, right,
This
right,
is the second
right.
show in a row where we've
We
reviewed
mentioned hair.
someone's hair.
Well,
Maybe
he
we
does
should call
have
it
great hair.
film or hair.
It's telling of the state of some of our hair.
We're getting older. So Javier Bardem having a ton of fun. One of the best Bond villains of recent memory for me. Daniel Craig, always solid. Naomi Harris, the Bond girl, I thought was awesome. I was way down. Number one, I thought she was totally more than just a hot Bond girl.
Yeah.
Apparently because of this Moneypenny thing. I'm not totally. I didn't know Moneypenny, but apparently she is a thing that Bond has a thing with, but it's not sexual.
Moneypenny is a stable character in the Bond universe that has been seen in almost all of them, although the Daniel Craig ones had yet to sort of reveal her. But it's always a sort of a sexual cat and mouse game that they play. She's M's personal assistant.
Well,
There's-
that cat and mouse game was great.
So let me ask you, Ian, before we move on to other reviews, what about the movie made it a movie for you and not a film?
Well, again, it's in the title. Is it art or is it entertainment? And this, to me, felt under the total category of entertainment. It looked sweet. I love the way it was shot. I love
Shot
the
by
way
Roger
it felt.
Deakins, I might add. Just quick interjection.
What was that? Pete?
Roger Deakins,
Is that the DP?
cinematographer, really shot all the. He shoots all of the Coen brothers.
Yeah, he did Munchies, didn't he?
So then, yes. So what's that guy's name?
Roger Deakins.
Roger Deakins. It was great. It was really well shot. But again, it was fun, and I don't think it was anything. I don't think it was meant to be anything more than fun. But a lot of fun was had, especially by me.
So then that's what makes it a movie. Why 3 mucks and not more mucks? What were some of the faults? You liked the acting, but what were some of the things that you didn't like?
I liked the acting for sure. Albert Finney, Ray Fiennes, Judi Dench, this kid Ben Whishaw. Am I saying
Oh,
that right?
yeah. He was awesome. I wanted to see more of him.
He's the Q. He's the guy who plays Q.
He's on the come up.
And he's in the come up in the hair department too. What a
great hair.
great hair.
Okay,
Oh,
so
to be
we know
19
Gottler
again.
would make out with most of the people in this film.
But then here's the thing. In terms of the actual script of the movie, other than the Javier Bardem, I don't know. It was a little too long for me. Honestly,
2 hours and 25 minutes.
I thought that thing could have been tightened up to 2 hours, maybe an hour 45.
That's also, not to give it a free pass, but that is a problem of all the Bond movies, I feel, as they always go.
They're always too long.
Man, whenever TNT or TBS used to have those marathons and you try to sit down and watch a Bond movie, everyone took like 4 hours at a time with commercials.
So let's jump over to Pete Monroe.
Yes.
Pete, what did you think of Skyfall?
Well, let me just start off by saying that, I heard it was good, so there's a little hype going into it. It knows exactly what it is. It's not trying to be anything that it's not. It's not going to be a life-changing, groundbreaking experience. I thought the action kind of became second fiddle to the chase aspect of it, like him protecting M, and I was waiting for some action stuff to come back, and it didn't really happen, but I was okay with that. Just by the mere fact that M is such a huge, she's such a cornerstone character in the franchise. So that kept me interested. Bardem's performance was amazing. I didn't think that it was really possible for him to get to the same level that he got to in No Country for Old Men, but I really thought that he met, if not surpassed.
It was a creepy villainy that was akin to the No Country for Old Men performance, but
Yeah.
it wasn't the exact same.
It wasn't the same,
great.
and it was like it was just flamboyant, and he had way more personality than just the pure evil that was the villain in No Country for Old Men. And this character could have been a really bland cornflake villain, and I thought that he just like in like little looks, like when they shot when he was standing when Bond was on the ice with the guy with the henchman and they fell through the ice, he like had this, they like kept it on Bardem, and he just has this like giggle to himself, like, oh, these silly fighters. And he like walked off. And
Wait a minute, before you leave though, how scary was it when he pulled his
the fake teeth?
Whoa.
That was really creepy. That was pretty
makeup
awesome.
department A+ on that. That was like
I think it's more computer.
Yeah, that was more
CG
computer. I don't even
guys,
think
A+.
there was no makeup there.
Yeah,
there
Javier
had to have been
Bardem actually
something.
has his teeth.
I think I have no idea how
And
they did that. They
as
could
well
have.
as his face.
I think they could have just like put like part of like a green screen thing
maybe
on.
that's
like,
what, it
Yeah, I
was
think they just
so-
tweaked it.
went
It just
like
looked
that.
so real.
All right, so did
But-
you have any other major points you wanted to
I
make?
had a lot,
before-
but well, I was gonna say that because I talked to a couple people who did not like this movie pretty adamantly. So I thought, because I think all of us liked it, I thought I would at least bring that to the table.
So far we've heard a 3 mucks and a 3 mucks, so there's no glowing.
No glowing,
reviews
but
yet.
for a Bond movie, I think I'm in the same boat as Ian. I really enjoyed it. I really didn't have too many problems. The only thing that really bothered me, which is it didn't affect the overall thing, but when the helicopter crashed into Skyfall and it lit up the entire building, that was the only moment for me where I was like, oh, come on. Just have it crash.
That was the only moment.
That's why I was
come
kind
on.
of stupid. I didn't even want to bring it
So
up.
for those
but
of you who haven't seen it, he
That
boards
was-
a train by using a crane. By using a crane to grab onto the back of
right.
the train.
No, I know. There was
But
a lot
the part
of shit.
that
but
got Pete was when the building exploded.
just because
up.
it was I know there was it was
All right.
ancillary,
I'm going to
but-
cut you there. Let's move on to Rob.
fine.
There'll be more time to talk. Rob,
You can do a separate blog too that accompanies the
yeah,
podcast.
Skyfall.
Pete's Corner.
Skyfall.
I'm gonna give it 3 mucks, but I'm gonna call it a film.
Whoa, that's our first film.
And again, we need to I think reiterate for. Did I get a text message over there?
I think from my wife.
Oh.
This is taking.
Wait a minute.
This is a whole different. So I'm using Rob's phone because the recap on Fandango was on his phone.
What is
and
she
then
saying to me?
I get a text. It says, Rob.
When are you guys going to be done?
Yeah, it's like I got some puppy chow in here.
You might
For those
remember
of you
Tony's
at home,
wife from the last podcast where she was making soap in the background.
yeah, I think she's inviting people to Top Chef, which is
great.
a movie.
I'll be
All
there.
right, so here we go.
Okay, so yeah, I think we need to reiterate for our audience that calling something a film or calling something a movie doesn't necessarily mean like film doesn't equal good, movie doesn't equal bad. It's just our interpretation of what a film is and what a movie is.
So let me ask you right off the top of the bat, why was this a film for you?
Okay, because for me, being a kid who loves action movies, I love it anytime somebody tries to take the action movie and elevate it in whatever way they can. And I thought in Skyfall's case, they did that with the way that it looked. I mean, like Pete said, this Deakins guy really shot the shit out of it. The way that they would set up certain action sequences, like there's a fight scene that's pretty brief in a high rise. I think not in Shanghai. Maybe it's in Shanghai.
Yeah.
And
some Asian place.
And it's just a great one single shot. They choreograph the fight. Craig and this other guy go at it in silhouette, lit only by all these crazy lights that light up Shanghai, which is basically like a city. If you ever go to Shanghai, it's like you're in Blade Runner. And so that's sort of the backdrop as it slowly pushes in on them until it only stops when Bond knocks the guy out of the window and it like goes over Bond's shoulder and looks down at the guy hanging. And it's just like a really cool moment. I felt like the movie had a lot of those. The whole opening sequences blew my face off. And it's shot really smart. You know, like I feel the Bourne movies, as great as they are, started this trend of like action verite or whatever,
Like
where it's
jittery,
shaky
yeah,
cam,
super jittery.
You don't know what's going on in a car chase. This is like dialed it back, but to the point where they could actually like artfully shoot it where it looks great, but it's also the action is clear. And on top of that, you've got such amazing performances across the board that to me, it made it a film. Now, I still give it 3 mucks. It didn't blow my face off on like the opening sequence. I'm going to use that phrase, blow my face off.
That's Rob's. That's Rob's.
Gottler, when you go back
it's
and
his
edit
catchphrase.
this, give me a different catchphrase.
I think you could just have an explosion every time you say blow your face
Yeah.
off.
Yeah,
It's a
I'll
Kirk
work on
face
that
blow.
drop. Can our producer work on that drop?
This is
Yeah.
really interesting for me because we have everyone seemingly enjoying the movie and talking about all the things they liked. The action, the shooting of it, the acting across the board, everyone, but no one, and I myself, I'm going to give it a three mucks movie. No one gives it over three mucks. And I
Right.
think that, at least for me, part of that is because it is part of a franchise.
Franchise.
It is formulaic.
Yeah.
You know it's a Bond movie, so it's kind of
There's
confined.
nothing that's going to surprise you.
It's really
the
crazy.
surprises are not even.
I will
gonna
say
surprise
this: I
you.
was surprised by the way that they handled sort of the climax. Not we talk spoilers here, but we don't necessarily get into ending spoilers on.
I think
on
this
film and movie.
podcast is probably good for people who have already seen the
Okay,
movie.
well, that being said,
Yeah.
I felt like the ending was a very atypical Bond climax because usually a Bond movie, he's stopping some guy from, he's got to take some satellite out before it nukes Russia or whatever. He's on some secret base. There's all this crazy shit, and they did find a way to give a Bond villain a secret base in this one. They just explained it in a cool way where it kind of made it real, the way he has his own island and all that, which is a very Bond thing. But the ending, just setting it in an abandoned like manor house with just Bond and versus a bunch of henchmen, like this assault, and it's basically Bond and two old people have to fight off a bunch of guys. It's a very non-Bond climax, which I enjoyed.
It was really stripped down. I felt like I liked it didn't bother me that there weren't any crazy cool technologies, even though I was disappointed that there wasn't more Ben Whishaw.
Wishaw. I think.
He was just, I was like really, when he got introduced, I was like, yeah, this guy's an awesome new young Q. He's like funny.
But he gives him, you're right, Pete. He gives him a gun.
And then the little
that's it.
radio, which I thought was like a wink.
And I think it's a testament to the Bond series too that they can have this moment where they reveal just the old car. I think that was the Aston Martin. I think it was an Aston Martin. It was a Bentley. It was one of those things.
It's an Aston Martin.
Yeah.
The old Aston
and
Martin.
They just kick into the old original Bond theme without any like U2 techno bullshit behind it or whatever they've done in the past.
Are you calling YouTube bullshit?
I am. U2 is a movie.
There was a nerd.
U2 is a
there was
$1
a
movie.
nerd giggle when that car came
Yeah,
out.
and then they started playing just the 60s guitar riff, and they just played and people were fucking down.
The only thing I wanted to bring up is just I happened to watch a 60-minute segment that they did on the I guess the proprietary owners of the
Broccolis?
Bond. The Broccolis, yes. They own, I guess, the Bond franchise, and they're very hands-on about. They talked about the selection of Daniel Craig as Bond.
Wow.
That was a big deal when that happened. People flipped out.
Yeah.
Mostly because he's blonde.
And he's kind of a brute.
Yeah, I think he was
didn't
less.
look like a
he was
traditional
more
Bond.
bulldog, less lithe than
Right.
other Bonds.
Well, he's more of an act. He looks more dangerous than other Bonds.
Yeah,
The other Bonds,
like-
their forte is being suave and then getting the girl, and then they also shoot a gun.
Right.
Right.
When you hire Daniel Craig, you're getting.
You're worried if you're going to get killed.
Yeah, you're getting the bulldog.
Like, he could
yeah,
kill
he
people.
plays it much more as a hitman.
Right.
And that's what's great about Casino Royale is they point that out to him. They basically say you're a thug, and you've been elevated to this status, but you're still just.
I liked in Skyfall when he did that free association test or whatever,
yeah.
and they were like murder profession.
I
Which
like
brings
that
us to our next segment, actually. This is nice talk, which will lead us into our Who Wore It Better for James Bond.
Cue the drop.
You better work.
Who wore it better?
To me, it's Pierce Brosnan. This guy looks like he's going to bring you a pizza. I don't know.
Dalton?
Let me see.
Dalton alone.
Wait. Yeah,
All right.
Timothy Dalton has
the most like feathery.
This-
Dalton has the least amount of product in his hair, which kind of makes him less Bondy.
The other problem with Dalton is that he was. What was he the villain?
fun
Oh, he
if
was
we
in
could-
he was the villain in the Rocketeer,
Yep.
which made me
And Beauty
have
and the Beast.
It'd be
a
fun if
villainous
in the Beast.
associations
It'd be
with
fun
him.
if we could have the whatever the most recent Who Wore It Better up on the website, and everyone that logged in could vote as
Yeah.
well.
With a picture and
That'd
like
be
a
awesome.
click thing.
Yeah, dude.
picture.
Look at. I mean,
You know,
Gold-
just a
Pierce
poll.
Brosnan. Like that. That's just the bet. That is Bond right
That
there.
is Bond.
I don't know. I feel like this picture kind of throws it a little bit because this is a pretty awful picture of Connery. This is like Connery from Never Say Never Again, which is like the last weird
It's
weird
almost
one
like
he
you
did in the
can't
80s.
include Connery because Connery was the first one.
That makes
No.
absolutely no sense.
That's ridiculous. That's like you can't include
can't-
the original Alien because he was the first.
'Cause it was-
All right, so Pete and I thought it was. Let's not take forever on Who Wore
Okay.
It Better. Pete and I both like for Who Wore It Better. We think that Pierce Brosnan, was the best Bond. Gottler, who do you think wore it better?
I'm gonna have two minds on this because this new take on it really throws me. Like I was gonna say Pierce Brosnan. I was prepared to say Pierce Brosnan, but like I kind of dig the thing that they're doing with Daniel Craig, which is like everybody's talking about. He's this badass, and maybe that's just more my thing than the swap. It doesn't
Pick
really-
one. Pick one right now. I got a gun to both Bond's
Yeah,
heads.
come on.
I got a gun to both
Don't beat around the
Bond's
bush.
heads. It's a fancy gun given to me by Q.
And a man's gonna die if
Well,
he doesn't.
but here's the
Yeah,
thing:
the
if-
one he doesn't like
If I
is-
want,
pick one.
If I want to go suave, if I want suave Bond,
Whatever
I'm
Bond means to you, who wears that better?
Yeah, and if that means
Instinctually, say it. Go now.
Pierce Brosnan.
Pierce Brosnan. I'm going to say Sean Connery because that's the correct answer.
Okay, and so moving on, we also
But it's like also, you know,
I also haven't watched all the other Bonds.
yeah, I also haven't given Pierce.
feel like
I've given
given-
Pierce Brosnan more time than I've given Sean
this
Connery.
is the eyeball test.
No, but that's a shitty. They took the puffiest Sean Connery. He looks like he's
does
a
look-
medicine man.
It doesn't matter. I've seen plenty of Sean Connery.
Did they even say "shaken not stirred" in Skyfall? Did he say that?
No,
Yeah,
they
he
found a way
says-
around
Did they
it.
skip
He
that?
said not. He said perfect.
No, he also said
The bartender
it-
said the line.
yeah.
The bartender said, "Here, this is or some like shaken,"
But they skipped.
and he's like, "Perfect."
Yeah,
Oh,
but they
okay.
still allude to it. But it's right before he gets the casino chip.
They did some clever shit.
Yeah.
All right.
Or gives
so,
the casino
So
chip.
moving on.
I don't
it's
know
time
how.
for the film or movie speed round.
I feel the need for speed.
So we're gonna start with Rob. Ready?
Speed
Off
round,
the-
film or movie.
it's
So this whole idea is off the top of the dome. I'm gonna list 5 movies, and I want film or movie. It's
Hit me.
just
I'm going to close my eyes to increase response time.
immediate reaction. So ready? Along with
My
it.
eyes are closed.
We're not gonna get into these movies specifically. Ready? Here are the movies. Ready? The Dark Knight,
That's a film.
The Keaton Batman,
That's a movie.
Being John Malkovich,
Film.
Adaptation,
Film.
Gremlins.
Movie.
Nice. All right.
Great speed round.
All right. So now let's go speed round for Gottler.
I will also close my eyes because look, I helped Kirk a bit.
It did.
And you can.
You really
All right.
lock in.
That was awesome.
Gottler, I hope you've seen all of these. I think you have. Drive.
Film.
Police Academy.
Pause.
Wow. No, that's way too long of a hesitation.
All right, movie. I was so close.
Wow.
Steve Guttenberg changed my life as an actor. He's kind of the reason I thought it was an interesting situation. I love Steve Guttenberg.
You could say
What
film.
makes Steve Guttenberg? Okay. Magic Mike.
Didn't see it.
Overboard.
Great movie.
And Training Day.
Ooh.
Don't do it.
I'm gonna.
Don't do it.
I'm
Don't do
gonna.
it.
I'm gonna say film.
Oh.
Okay.
Here's the thing with
Let's-
Training Day.
No,
Let me just-
no,
let me
it's not a Training Day
No,
episode.
no, it's over. It's over.
All right. Top of the
the
lightning
lightning round.
Top of the dome, Pete. I'm gonna fucking twist you in knots here.
Go.
You ready?
Go. Hit me.
Secretary.
I haven't seen it. Looks
Oh.
like a film.
Film.
Secretariat.
Secretariat. I haven't seen it.
Jesus. North by Northwest.
Movie.
The Great Outdoors.
Movie.
Bowling for Columbine.
Movie.
Wow. Okay, so let's go on to Does It Hold Up?
Does it hold up?
Does it hold up?
All right, here we go. So we reviewed, for Does It Hold Up, American Beauty, also directed by Sam Mendes, who did Skyfall.
That's the connection.
That's the connection.
Same director.
I'm actually going to start with this one,
Go.
okay? Because I think I have some stuff
Just-
to mark at 8.
Open it up.
Okay, so I'm going to give it a 4 Mux film.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a 4 Mux film, and the reason that it's a film to me is, for one, its use of symbolism, the red door, the flowers shooting from the breast.
Also red.
Also red. Yes.
Interesting thing. Hold on. That thought about the roses. They also then come back when they finally make out at the end. There's a vase of roses right there, right between them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gottler watched this thing deep. I'm not going to take a long time, but then also the use of the, I think it's just bookended, his post-mortem
VO.
voiceover
Right.
at the beginning, at the end. Obviously, the filming of the bag. Can you get any more film than filming the bag? That was what
Could it
that was
be
the
any
birth
more
of
film?
That might have been the birth of film.
Whoa.
I literally had a giggle when I rewatched this. And anyone listening, if you haven't seen it in a while, go back and watch American Beauty. I think there'll be a lot of differing opinions here as to what people thought of it. I thought it still held up for sure. I wasn't as blown away as when I first saw it, but I think that's because it set the film standard for me at that time, with the filming of the bag, with some of the sentiment that was created through the script by Alan Ball. Okay, so that's my review. Let's toss to Kirk since he went last. What did you think about American Beauty when you watched it this morning at 10 a.m.?
It was at noon, actually. I was basically stopped. I did 3 dishes and then came here.
It's the worst time to watch.
It was not a
American
good
Beauty.
time to watch American Beauty. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to throw out... I'm going to try to look past the fact that I watched it with a heavy glare on the television. I am going to give it a 3 Mux film. I was a little concerned as well that it wasn't going to hold up. I mean, it blew my face off. We might have seen it together. I can't remember.
I saw it 3 times in the theater.
Did you go? Did
Wow.
we ever go see this with Cometus? Were you in Cometus yet?
Yeah, maybe. I saw it with Drew.
Waldman went crazy. Waldman had like a nervous breakdown because of how awesome it was. It's that good a movie. But again, that was like, you're in college. I don't know. That was what, 98? So I was a sophomore. So yeah, it was like, oh, I watch films now. It was awesome. Going back, I feel like there's a category of movies called white people problem movies that this is.
Yes.
And part of
That's
me wants
exactly
to
what it is.
rebel against that, because it's like, look, there's a story to be told in everything. There's a story to be told about people who are going through not midlife crises, but whatever, realizing that you're stuck in the suburban hell, and what have you done, and what if you lost the youth, or if you lost that element to life that made it fun. Like, I get that you can tell that story, but at the same time, it's like, we're watching a bunch of people in suburbia complaining about their
Champagne
lives.
problems.
Yeah, exactly. But I think what makes it a film, besides some of the symbolism that you guys astutely pointed out, is also it makes you want to, I don't know, it makes you examine your life in a way where at least you're like, there's that theme of of there is no good, there is no bad, there's only what happens. You know, that character of that Wes Bentley plays, the kid next door,
the neighbor.
You know, he's got a couple great scenes where he gets to go into like why he shot the bag, you know, why he shot that thing of the bag, or why he shot that frozen dead homeless
Why he beat
woman,
up
you know
that
what I mean?
kid.
Yeah, and it's all it's a very Buddhist, it's a very Eastern thing to sort of, and even Spacey's VO at the end talking about just letting life flow through you, and you know, every there's so much beauty, even if you don't think something is necessarily beautiful, it is because it exists. That's sort of the.
Could we say that movies that make you, or films that make you examine your life,
This is what I was getting
make
at.
you think.
This is what I was getting at.
Are-
Makes it
right.
a film. That's for me why I'm giving it a
That's-
3 Mucks film,
Right.
because it does make you say, you know what, I can
So-
live if I can maybe live my life in a slightly different way. This movie has taught me a way to maybe do that. You know what I mean?
But is that an inherent quality of a film?
I would, for me personally, yeah.
So I would
I'm willing to mark it 8.
mark it 8.
Yeah.
Motion to mark it 8.
Sure.
Mark it 8.
Market 8, dude.
What does the Market 8 thing mean again? I
So
missed
on
that.
the website,
It's our attempt for another tagline.
We
Okay.
needed one more tagline.
on the website, we're going to have a running list of what make of common characteristics of films and movies. And I think on this website we've marked 2 things, or on this episode we've marked 2 things 8. A
It's
film generally will if somebody say it.
It's
Yeah,
basically,
edit
if
this
it
out.
makes you think, the thing that Rob just
Causes
said.
you to re-examine your life in a deep way.
Sure.
Film. If it's part of a franchise, it's probably a movie. You know what I mean? These
Right.
Right. You're just trying to come up with certain
certain
Right.
things. So that-
theorems.
yeah, theorems.
If it's directed by Brett Ratner, probably
Most
a movie.
likely a movie.
Mark that 8.
Market 8, dude.
Rob, your review of this film was a film. Let's go on to Pete.
Okay. It was interesting. I actually saw it. I saw like the dark comedy much more than I did the drama of it. Because when I first watched it, the last third act or whatever is so the tone completely changes. It goes from being this like darkly comic caricature. I don't even want to. I mean, trying kind of a satire to this. Trying to be this like lofty, profound.
Plus, things get really convenient at the end.
Yeah,
a lot of things
it's-
happen all at the same time in
and
the same area.
Yeah,
Really
and
convenient.
I was not. I didn't like how that. I think it's okay if you have drama and comedy mixed throughout, but to have it be this like dark comedy for like 2/3 or half of the movie, and then completely ditch all that. Also, like why?
Wait, was that something that was effective or not? For
that
you?
was not that. That upset me.
That's
That was like I was like,
critique,
why am I
yes.
watching now a different movie than I was watching 15 minutes ago? Why did that just happen? Because all the stuff in the beginning is so funny. All the performances are film.
All the
you know,
performances are
all right,
film.
they're just I mean, yeah, like Spacey is great.
Annette Bening, and I said it when I saw it the first time. I think, did she win the Oscar?
She was definitely not.
I don't know. Her
I don't
hair
know if
should
she
have won
was-
the Oscar because it was perfect. The way it's kind of like crispy, crackly, blown
But
out.
Really quick, I just want to point out a couple things because I have a lot of thoughts, but we're limited on time. I read a couple reviews that pointed out really interesting things, I thought. This one guy I read, because most people like it, so I was like, what are the people saying that criticized it? This one guy was saying that there actually is this undercurrent of misogyny. And I was like, what? And then I kept reading, and it's pointed out that when he buys the car, when he's like working out and doing all the vain things just because he likes to, and he buys this car just because it makes him feel good, she comes in, his wife, and she like, is yelling at him and berates him for doing that. Yet when like the very next scene, when they go inside and he is turned on and he starts making out with her and kissing her, and he almost spills the beer on the couch, and she stops him. He gets upset. Like
because it's only a couch.
Because
or
it's
whatever.
only a couch, and he starts talking about like the whole philosophy of the movie, which is like you shouldn't be concerned about the material things, and life is about the spirit, and blah blah blah. And I thought it was interesting, and that was an interesting point. Like, why is it okay for him to buy a car that makes him feel good, and yet she can't be concerned about her couch getting messy?
I think because by that point in the movie, as it's alluded to, she has already basically discounted his existence in her life, discounted his value to her and their relationship. So what I think the comment is not so much about the couch; it's about him trying to come towards her, kind of try to interact with her in a more meaningful way than they normally do, and her being sidetracked by the possible damage to this material thing.
Right.
When he buys the car, that is a spirit purchase. Like that's
I think it's more of a symbol. Yeah, like for him, it represents something more than the couch represents.
But
for her.
it's an interesting point.
I thought it was an interesting point.
Yeah.
Don't know if it was. I thought it would bring it up. I'm not even sure that I completely agree with it.
No,
but I just thought it was.
It's an interesting point because you're right, Pete. It happens in the same scene.
Right.
They both have a material thing that happens in the same scene.
But I mean, he doesn't have sex with the young girl at the end when he could have.
That's the other thing.
I don't.
Why is it? I thought it's kind of interesting that it's never really addressed. The same critic also made a comparison to this Todd Solondz movie called Happiness, that's about a pedophile film, a pedophile, and it was. As I was reading this, thought it was kind of interesting that like they never really. You're not really seeing Kevin Spacey's character as a pedophile.
You are through his daughter's eyes. His daughter from the very beginning.
Yeah, but it's dismissed as like gross.
But you're right. There's definitely
it's
not
like that's a serious issue. Like him and here's the other
They're
thing.
not comparable. The kids in Happiness were extremely young. This young girl's like
this is
a
a
senior in high
16-year-old
school.
girl. Like a 40-year-old guy and an 18-year-old. That's a little weird.
I guess, but I wouldn't go so far as to call it a pedophile.
It's not
I mean, that's
pedophile,
legal.
but it was a little creepy, and it's more than a little creepy. And the other thing is, the only reason he doesn't sleep
Pete,
with
I'd
her.
like to introduce you to my wife.
The only reason he doesn't sleep with her is because she's a virgin. If she weren't a virgin, would he have had sex with her?
That's what they imply.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Sure. Why not? All right,
But
so let's
that's
roll
okay.
over to Ian. Ian, what'd you think?
I'm gonna line up with Tony Liebertrau. Film for Mux. Right from the beginning.
Wait,
sorry.
Oh no, I
you
gave.
say what
Sorry,
it was?
no, I didn't. I give it a 2 Mux film. I'll give it 2 Mux film.
2 Mux film.
So you had lots of problems with it.
Yeah.
Not
I
happy.
didn't even get into like the whole beauty thing.
Again, there's the blog. Keep
yeah,
going, got it.
sorry.
There is a blog. I really like this again for the 100th. I've seen this movie so many times. I hadn't seen it in a while, probably about at least 3 or 4 years. But I went on a tear of seeing it a bunch of times in a row after seeing it in the theater. The performances are unstoppable. You haven't seen Annette Bening this good. You didn't see her this good again until The Kids Are All Right. And then Spacey's unbelievable. And Wes Bentley has not done anything this level since. Bina Suvari is gone.
Chris Cooper was
Cooper's great.
When
His-
they
his
open
character's
that
the best.
garage door and he comes in and has maybe like 3 lines in that whole scene, it's so.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking about it, getting worked up. It was so good.
Remembering when your advances on a man were also spurned.
It's just like you get the sense that when they shot this, they knew what they were doing. And then Tony's point about the symbolism, the roses are everywhere. If you keep looking for all this different stuff he does with color, it's just incredible. The script is... Now, here's the one thing I'll say about this script. I think in different actors' hands, this movie could have been absolute garbage because the script is good, but at times it's incredibly on the nose. It's very obvious.
Yeah.
The whole beginning, the whole first act is almost all just setup. I am this person. I do this.
Yeah.
I act like this, and they're just establishing the world in a very obvious way. And if it wasn't an actor that actually knew what they were doing, how to approach the language, I think it would have fallen right on its face. The second half of the second act is also super weak. I found myself drifting a little bit in the second half of the second act, and then obviously when the third act starts and he says, "This is the day that I die," and he starts to hit off that run, that's where I feel like the third act starts, right? He puts on his cap and he goes out for the run, and he's his new man, finally. And then from there on out, it's great, other than the fact that it's incredibly convenient.
Just a perfect storm of things happening.
So you mentioned that before. We're going to wrap up here in a sec. But what explain specifics about this convenience part?
Here's the convenience thing. Number one, the dad finding the video after only searching through one other tape when he's got a room full of tapes from floor to ceiling.
Sure. Okay.
It just happens
well,
to
I was
be the
gonna
second
say, yeah,
one
the
he looks
convenient
at.
stuff for me is like just all at the end, all at that house. You know, like Wes Bentley comes over and says, "Let's leave," and she goes, "Great," but then they hang around while her friend is still in the house.
The timing is
Who goes downstairs.
They stretch time forever.
And and then Chris
but isn't
Cooper
that
comes
supposed
over.
I thought that was supposed because they go back. It's like non-linear. They play back the gunshot.
Right, and they're
they
still
show
upstairs
her-
in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Right.
So they haven't that's my point. Is like everyone's kind of hanging around. I also didn't really understand why Annette Bening. I know what they were trying to do in that
Misleading
they want
you.
to keep you with red herrings, wondering who's going to actually be the one to kill him. But I remember even the first time I saw that movie, I wasn't sitting there being like, "Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be?" You know, it was more just watching all the characters kind of go through their shit, and I didn't really understand what Annette Bening was she actually planning to kill him? And if that was the case, then I don't know how she got to that point.
She wouldn't have the guts.
I
She
think
wouldn't have
that's
the guts to kill him.
strictly a device that they use to keep you questioning as to who actually does it. So so it's a 3.5 Mux film. We all thought it was a film. So that will go on the website.
Wait, what was the average for Skyfall? Did you do that?
Skyfall was a 3 Mux movie. So you gave it a film, but everybody else gave it a movie, so you're overvoted.
No, that's fine.
What happens if two of us give movie and two of us give film?
Then it's a
Fumi.
A film. A Fumi.
What sounds better? A
Foovie?
A
Fumi?
Fumi? A
A
milm?
Foovie or a
Foovie?
or a milm.
A milm or a
Milm is
Foovie?
too sexual. Movie
Milm?
movie I'd like
I
to
have to go to the
Sexual.
doctor to get this extra milm
Why is that
review
sexual?
removed.
Thank you all so much for listening to Film or Movie, and we will be back next week with our review of Pete.
What are we doing? Are we doing Silver
Killing
Lining Playbook?
We're
or
gonna
are we
do
doing
Silver Lining Playbook.
yeah.
Silver Lining Playbook or
Silver Linings.
Killing Them Softly is opening Friday.
We may do a double
We
show
might do a double shift.
for Christmas. That'll
I'd
be
be
an
totally
early
down for
Christmas
that.
gift to everybody.
I've already seen Silver Lining. Not
On
gonna
behalf
say
of
anything about it.
Ian, Pete, and Rob, this is Tony signing off. Film or Movie. Peace. Peace out.
Foovie.
Counting it down in 3,
So as usual.
2.
Mother, what a night it really was. Brother, what a night it really was.
And we're
is it?
counting down.
China's tough.
Here we go.
Película.
2 Mux Foovie. Foovie.
Oh, I'm in the red. I'm gonna be in the red for a long time. But I hit the jackpot. I hit quad aces and this guy had pocket tens. That was pretty exciting.
4 aces is called a jackpot?
Well, I guess it would be nice if I could touch
That's
your
too quiet.
body. I know not everybody has got a body like you,
That's not quiet. That's not loud enough.
so I gotta think twice.
Come on, open it up.